I was talking the other day about digging into the infinite, and it took me so long to get to the place where I wanted to originally go when I started the conversation that I never even touched upon it. Like maybe I threw in a sentence at the very end really quickly, and it didn't really get into what I wanted to talk about, I guess. So consider this part two of digging into the infinite. And basically in part one, I talked about how you can take any subject and dig into it and dig as deep as you want to go. And you can stop at any point and then pick another subject and start over again and dig in. And a lot of times, for me, my career path has been drawing because that's the thing I've dug the most into. And while it would be tough to start over again, I fully believe that I'm capable of starting over again. Like I could pick a different subject, and if I, with enough passion and effort and time, I can get good enough at that to be a professional at that too. So, hopefully nothing will happen to me to stop me from continuing to draw, or hopefully I won't lose interest. But if I do, I'm not that worried because I know there are other things I can dig into. And usually a lot of times when I'm working on projects and stuff, I'll just work on it till I start to get kind of either really frustrated or bored with it, and then I'll take a break and work on a different project. And by juggling a bunch of projects like that, I can really it's almost like I don't have to take a break because all I'm doing is taking a break from one project to the next. I'll work on this one project, get sick of it, take a break from it. So I'm taking a break, but I'm immediately moving on to another project. So I'm not really stopping working. I'm just continuing to move forward, even though there's kind of like this staccato rhythm to it because I'm moving forward on multiple different projects. So it takes me longer to finish a project, but I'm constantly producing stuff. And for me, it's like that's the thing that keeps me going, is to make progress. It's not even like having a finished product is great, but that's not even the main goal. I feel like the stuff that I enjoy the most is the process parts of things. And then once the drawing is done and I'm sharing it, it becomes this weird, I have some conflicts with it because with social media and everything, part of the business of being an artist is sharing your work with people and having an audience. And there's an aspect of that that's like self-aggrandizing and a little gross. And even though I like getting feedback and I love positive reinforcement, there's part of me that fights with it and struggles with that because I don't want to be too self-involved and too, it's not. The important thing is that I'm making things that I feel good about, sharing, which brings me back to digging into the infinite. So I guess once you realize that, once you take, when I first started drawing, I was just drawing because I like drawing, it was just something I was good at. I got good feedback at it, and it was a good way for me to communicate with the world because I'm not the best talker and communicator. If we were sitting in a room together and I was trying to talk to you about the things I'm talking about now, it probably wouldn't happen because I need a lot of time to warm up to somebody and to really like, it's like I don't want to impose my thoughts on somebody. That's my own thing, and I don't know if it would make sense. I know some people don't have any problem with sharing their opinions, and but for me, a lot of times, when people share their opinions, if it's done in a certain way, it can feel very claustrophobic to me, and can leave me no room to think for myself. Like it kind of gets kind of, I don't know, I get constipated with other people's thoughts, I guess. I couldn't think of the right word, so I used constipated, and I apologize for that. But anyway, at some point you start to take kind of ownership of what you're doing. So art, drawing went from this thing I did that I got good feedback to like this thing I was really into and I was choosing to do. And it wasn't about getting good feedback or I can't think of the word, but I've probably said it already in this talk, but I've forgotten it by now. It was all about, like doing it for myself, and like you draw whatever, and at some point you look at the things you're drawing, you're like, why do I keep drawing this? Like, what's this about? And so you dig deeper and deeper, and eventually you might get some answers to what you think it's about. And I don't know, I found that like the answers are constantly changing. Like I'll look at stuff I created years ago and be like, oh, what I used to think this was about has totally changed. Like now it's about something completely different. And I don't know, I always think that's fascinating. And I think in general, when I'm writing, I try to leave things kind of open-ended in a way that like the meaning can change, like it's not, I like to incorporate change into what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like try to obscure the things you're trying to say, if you are trying to say anything, in a way that, like people, when they're reading it, they're coming up with their own story, and like you look at it and you have your own story, and they look at it and they have their own story, and, you could get into a big conversation about what it actually means. But I always get really frustrated when people ask me, what is this about? Because I'm like, well, it's mostly about what you get from it. It's not about what I get from it. Has nothing to do with your experience. And I guess if I feel comfortable enough with you, I will talk to you about what it's about for me. But in general, a lot of times when I'm asked this, I end up kind of riffing and making something up, and then I feel bad because it's like I'm suffocating the art, like it's like the more you define something, the less room it has to move around. Anyway, I didn't even get to the point I wanted to talk about again, so this giant ramble is going to keep on going. I guess I will continue it in the next video. So thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon.